Hey guys, Mizzo here again. I got some interesting ideas on Katarina. I think she just costs too much to do what she does. I think the idea of her is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, the rally, all that. But if you're going to do that, display Cancer's elusive, Demacia, because that was a good idea. Because Demacia is just stuck in being relevant by other regions because they have those two spells, and they'll all play nothing Demacia, but those two spells and maybe the 2/2 elusive spell. That's all they'll play. So I think she would be a great idea, but she doesn't have a lot of options right now. She's kind of stuck with Akshan. She's kind of stuck with Ionia. And she also doesn't give you one of these when she levels, which I think would be a good idea how she is right now. If these weren't like fleeting, you just get some of these and have them. I think that could be an interesting idea to leave her, but I think what she actually needs to do is to be quite a bit cheaper on the come in, but have a limit on how many times she can come in. Let's say once she's leveled, let's just make it reasonable. She can come in 3 times, that round or whatever, whenever round. But she'd be cheaper, but she wouldn't be an unlimited combo of continuing to do 4 damage. If that's what we're worried about here, we put on a limit of how many times she can come in, whether it's two, three, whatever the amount is. You put on a limit, but she's just too expensive for what she is right now. And Akshan is the answer on that, but it's also with the new pretty much Yordle Elites, how that deck plays, it's got to come out faster than it is right now. Because that deck is super quick and has some big boys on the field that you have to deal with almost turn by turn. You have to delete their first 3 units, or you're in trouble. Unless you're playing the new Pantheon or some sort of tricky thing that's getting around them and winning the game. So I think she's interesting. I think the idea of her is great. I think we just need to rework the idea of her and not leave it how it is. Because I actually like how Lucian works. I like playing him in any time I get him in Path of Champions. I enjoy his playstyle. But this, she's just sitting here. She's just a mana sink that doesn't mana sink into anything. It's like playing, like, I guess, save your mana on Omnoth Green, in Magic, and never having to pay out for all that X mana you have there. She's kind of how she works. So I think she'd be much better at, like, either she's cheaper every time you play her, every time she comes back, because she also dies to anything under the sun, any 2 spells, like any 3-drop discard spell, you know, your 2-drop spell do damage, or even figuring out how to make her 0, which is unlikely right now because it's not really in the meta from all the frost. But she's not what I would call her road to victory is pretty paved in torment of any spell almost kills her, and she can be shut down multiple ways, and she's way too expensive. So either she needs to become like a 4, and you could even raise the mana later, be like she's a 5-drop, she did damage, come in, do 5. Next time you have to play her for 4, 3, 2, 1 until she's 0, and then you start taking over the game. Or you could just set the number of times she can come in around to like 2, 3, keep her, and change the mana to like 2, where you're just not mana seeking as much mana into her every round. Or just keep her at 3 at that point, and to be like 6 mana, she gets to come in twice. I'm doing other stuff with my 6 mana later in the game, where it's like you got to deal with this problem over and over again. And she can maybe eventually dirtle out, big champions you didn't want to deal with, but they have to block to stay alive for later, or it's just a problem. And she would create interesting gameplay that way, where you have to make decisions or choices, or we could even put a, you know, a if she did damage to a player, things happen, blah blah blah. You know, that would be helpful. So there's a lot of ways to change her. I would just like to see a change that makes her less dependent on Akshan or the Ionias, because you're going to play a lot of fours in an Ionia deck, and was it Greenglade Scouts not always going to hit her. So it kind of puts her in a weird position of being SOL. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I think it would be good for her for a change. If they don't want to do that, I understand, but I think it would be good to at least give these champions that are struggling something other than a stat boost or a stat change. And I don't think it would be that hard to do because they proved they can do it already. So, anyway, talk to you next time.